Hi, man. Hey, we back with another little video. Hey, go check out all the links in the description to my Discord, my Twitch, my Insta. Drop a follow, drop a sub, drop all that. But as of right now, we got everything we know so far about college football 26 by your boy Eric Rayweather. I think that's his name. Let's tap into it though.
With college football 26 a few short months away, it's time to talk about everything that we know so far as it pertains to the upcoming college football 26 video game. Now, over the next couple of months, we're going to start to get a lot more concrete information from EA Sports themselves. Probably within the next month to 6 weeks, we might get our first trailer, we might get a cover reveal, and a few little tidbits about the game. And as we get closer to the release, they're going to talk about more and more. But so far, we do know a decent bit about the game. And if you've been following the channel over the past few months, you might know some of these, but I'm going to kind of recap everything that we know, as well as go over something small that we did just find out a few days ago, something that I didn't feel was necessary to make an entire video just on that one thing, but I'm going to talk about that here because it is also important. Now, if you are new to the channel and you never want to miss out on any of the updates for this game, as we're going to be getting a ton of updates very soon, like I said, make sure to
Facts.
subscribe and turn the bell icon on. That way you never miss any
Subscribe. Subscribe to him. Subscribe to me. Trying to reach at least 1,000 before my birthday
of these important
in
videos
August.
when they go live. Now, the first thing that we're going to talk about that we do know about the game is something that we just found out a few days ago, and that is pertaining to the players in the NIL. Now, if you watch some of my previous videos,
Hey, hey, I don't know if I can legally leak this, but I have a cousin that plays D1 football, and yeah, he just got the email about it. So you know I'm locked in.
you may remember that I was talking about how there was possibly a conflict that would be happening because
Shout
the
out Liberty.
players of college football are being represented by a different group this year, the Pathway Group, I believe their name is. And this is a whole different entity that's in the mix now, and they are trying to get the players more money. Last year, all of the players got $600 plus a copy of the game. Some few players got more for marketing purposes or maybe being on the cover. Those guys may have gotten a little bit more money, but the standard was $600 and a copy of the game. Now, this year, the Pathway Group was saying that they were trying to get their players around $1,500, which, you know, when you're talking about EA, they make a lot of money, doesn't seem like a big deal. But when you talk about over 10,000 players, you know, that's in the tens of millions of dollars. And when you talk about the budgets that games have, this could have potentially been a problem for getting maybe real players in the game, or maybe losing out on more players than last year, because last year's game didn't really miss out on any players. Nobody actually really opted out. Well, the good news is that it did come out a few days ago that EA is planning to actually give the players $1,500 this year and a copy of the game. So they're paying players more than double from last year. And hey, with the success that last year's game had, it's kind of a no-brainer. Having real players in the game definitely does help a bit for
How I feel about the more money situation, in my eyes, it's a win-win because the players get paid more, so more people are opt into the game, which means more niggas is gonna buy the games to either use their peoples, see their peoples in the game. Like me personally, I'm about a game because Jeremiah Smith's on the cover. Hopefully he'll talk about that too. I'm buying the game because Jeremiah Smith's on the cover and my cousin to be in it. Like, you feel me? There's no other reasons besides that, and I like college football. But yeah, most niggas they gonna buy the game due to the fact that their peoples are in the game, active, and showing their ass.
you know, how well the game sold. It was obviously going to sell really well no matter what, but having the real names in there definitely takes it over the top. So they will be paying the players $1,500. Some probably will get more for the marketing purposes, but this means we should have all of the players in the game this year, over 10,000 players. I believe last year we had about 12,000, so we'll probably be seeing somewhere around that number again. We don't have to worry about the real rosters not being in the game. Moving on to the next thing that we know about the game, this kind of leaked about a few weeks ago when the cover shoot got leaked, and we saw that there were real coaches on the cover. And not only that, but they were giving coaches their own separate cover this year. So usually they do 2 or 3 different covers. This year it leaked that they're doing 3 covers: the standard cover, the coach edition cover, and a legend edition cover. But the coach one is the one that's most important because legends already exist in the game because of Ultimate Team. So that's not really anything new or anything to really look at. But the
Yeah, Okay, hold on. I'll let him
Coaches
tell it.
getting their own cover pretty much confirmed that coaches are going to be in the game. And this was a rumor that we were already hearing. This is something they wanted to get into the game even last year, but they just weren't able to do it. And they said that this year it was going to be one of the things they were going to try to do. And now with having coaches on both the regular cover but their own cover as well, they wouldn't do that if coaches weren't going to be in the game. There would literally be no reason to do that because it would almost be like false advertising in a way, right? Whereas like with Legends, you can give Legends their own cover whether or not you have Legends available in the regular game. They're still a part of Ultimate Team, so they're still involved in the game in some capacity. Coaches, however, were not involved in the game at all. They were all generic. So we do know we're getting real coaches next year, which is a pretty cool thing, and I think a lot of people, from what I saw, wanted to see that happen. Now, we're going to continue on with some other important things that we know about College Football 26, but really quick, here's a word from today's video sponsor. Something you may or may not know about me is I absolutely love sports cards. I've talked about it in the past on the channel. I used to is it's going to have a deeper Road to Glory mode, and this is going to be a big focus for the or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/Rayweather and use code Rayweather. The next thing we know about the game is it's going to have a deeper Road to Glory mode, and
Thank
this is
you.
going to be a big
Thank
focus
you.
for the game this year. We know this because Daryl Holt recently did an interview. He's one of the higher ups at EA. I can't remember his position off the top of my head, but he's definitely high up. He was talking about College Ball 25 last year around this time doing interviews, and he's doing the same for 26. And one of the things that he did kind of let out there was that we're going to be getting a deeper Road to Glory mode. He said that they're very aware of what players want. They've seen all the feedback, and we know that Road to Glory is one of the modes that had the most feedback this year because it's definitely the
Only if the people on that works on Madden could do this shit, or the niggas at 2K. Because 2K, oh my gosh, 2K is really pissing me off. If y'all seen, I rarely drop videos on 2K. I rarely stream 2K. Like, they are really on the brink of like me just saying, really fuck that game. Madden is there. Only reason why I upload Madden's because I'm in money leagues. Like, it's really just aggravating coming from them two companies, or I should say developers, because college football and Madden's on the is EA.
one that's
Really
got the
aggravating.
least to it. Like Dynasty mode was pretty decent. Obviously, Dynasty is going to get some stuff as well, and it needs some other things. But Road to Glory was a lesser of a mode than Dynasty in a pretty big way. Now, the big rumor that we've been hearing all year is that it's going to be getting high school. I believe that to be true. That, however, has not been confirmed. The only thing that's confirmed is that the mode will indeed be deeper and be a pretty big focus. But I mean, that to me means that high school is going to be in the game. Aside from the fact that we've heard rumors from reliable sources about this, if they're going to make Road to Glory deeper, they can't really do that without doing high school first, because that is by far the biggest criticism that maybe the entire game had last year. Outside of not being able to do roster transfers to Madden, the other thing that was the biggest talking point was that there was no high school in Road to Glory. People were really upset about that. So if you're going to make the mode deeper, there's a bunch of things you can do with it. You can add more positions, which we may get that as well. You can add more to the storylines. You can add more customization. But the number one thing you have to do is add high school, because that's the number one complaint. So if you're going to make the mode deeper, you start there. So I'm pretty confident in saying that that will be in the game.
Rain, make it, rain girl, make it.
Apartment 2B?
2B. She's definitely using that Grubhub deal from Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Amazon Prime member? You can get $0 delivery fees on Grubhub. Eligible orders only. Terms and additional fees apply.
And the Korea team is here to review results.
Don't worry about it. I'm gonna get YouTube Premium again.
The next thing we know is that we're going to also have a deeper Dynasty mode. Now,
Okay, now back to what he said about Road to Glory. Right? You need high school. I want every position on the field. Like, oh, if I okay, I'll be cool with tackle. I don't need center and guard. I want quarterback, of course, running back, of course, wide receiver, of course, corner, of course, linebacker, of course. But I want to be able to play right outside linebacker, left outside linebacker, D end, D tackle, safety. Hell, if I can even play kicker or punter, I just want to be able to do multiple shit. Cause next college football game, I'm trying to put out at least I'm gonna aim for 5 RTGs from 26 from college football 26 to college football 27. I want to put out three to five full 4 years, or five because of the high school if they add it in the game. I want to put four. I want to post four of those, 3 to 5 of those. Yeah.
Now, they haven't spoken too much about this in particular, but something interesting that did happen at the beginning of the year when College Ball 25 came out, about a month or two into the game, they sent out surveys to a lot of players asking them about what their biggest needs and wants were for the game for next year. And for Dynasty Mode, they were listing things like trophy room and formation subs and a few of the things that were very big talking points during the season. When this game came out, the biggest criticisms for Dynasty Mode were, aside from the fact that you couldn't transfer rosters to Madden, but we know that that's kind of more, I think that's more of an NIL situation than anything else. But that aside, it was no trophy room, no formation subs, among some other things. But those were two, big talking points. Not that those two things in particular are these massive features that they'd be bringing to the game, but they were just two of the, I would say, smaller talking points that were mentioned a lot. And they were also a part of that survey that was sent out. So I'm pretty confident that both of those things will be in the game, because I'm pretty sure they were even trying to bring formation subs to 25, but it just fell a little short. So I could see that definitely being in 26. I think the trophy room is a pretty easy addition, and it seems like that is something that is higher up on the priority list for Dynasty fans, so that's probably going to be in the game. But aside from that, they're going to definitely be doing some stuff with recruiting. We've heard leaks about that, where they want to do a lot more with recruiting, make it more in depth, make things like motivations for players more dynamic, where they can switch and change. So we do know Dynasty Mode is going to for sure be deeper. Part of that kind of goes without saying. You kind of have to do that, but we know some.
Speaking of Dynasty Mode, bro, I want to be able, like, all the little I'm just gonna call them motivations or deal breakers. Like the athletic, I mean the academic prestige, bro, and shit like that. Like that needs to be able to change. Like when I be doing rebuilds and I want players with certain deal breakers, bro, and I can't get them because my deal breaker for that slot will not change. It's kind of hard, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I don't like it.
Specific things that it seems like they're looking to add. Another thing we know is that there's going to be new gameplay mechanics. Now, you might say this goes without saying, but not necessarily. So, when Daryl Holt did that interview recently where he talked about Road to Glory being deeper, he also mentioned that there would be new gameplay mechanics. And again, you might say, well, that kind of goes without saying. The gameplay is always going to get some attention, but at least as it pertains to Madden, which I've covered for many years, Madden typically doesn't get new gameplay mechanics every single year. That's more of an every other year type of thing, where they might change the passing system or change a defensive mechanic or something like that. Usually that's more of an every other year thing for EA, and in between that, they're doing a lot of tweaking and kind of just polishing the stuff that they implemented from the year before, making some adjustments, making it better. You expect them to do things like add new plays. They're definitely going to add new plays to the gameplay. They're going to change the movement up a little bit because they always tweak that. They're going to mess with some abilities and tweak those. They always do things like that. They're going to try to, get rid of some of the cheese and the overpowered stuff that people ran last year. But in terms of new mechanics,
I want the blocking system to be better. I'm not gonna lie. I want it to where my offensive line can like recognize a buff blitzer. So like the mid blitz, when they bring a safety into the box, I want my O line to recognize that that safety is not blitzing, so we can pick up our normal blocks. Like I want a lot of that shit fixed, cause that's how I lose a lot of games to 3-4 odd cheesers, mid blitz cheesers, and like the looper chaluper. I send the looper chaluper, so it's like that could be blocked. All you gotta do is double team the defensive end, the opposite of the loop linebacker. But that's besides the point. Let's finish this.
that's not always a guaranteed thing. But with College Ball 25, one thing that team was pretty big on was adding a lot of new mechanics. They didn't just take everything one-to-one from Madden. They added a new passing system. They added the switch stick, among a few other things. And
Oh,
then they also
I'm
implemented this
nice
into
with the
Madden as
switch
well. So
stick,
the
boy.
gameplay team that kind of was the leading force behind some of these new mechanics that were in both games, they're going to try to one-up themselves this year. I think that's kind of the type of team that they have for gameplay, especially with a guy like Scott O'Gallagher that leads it. He's a really big sim head, and he really cares about gameplay mechanics. So the fact that we're getting
My
new
bad,
gameplay
Chuck.
mechanics this year on top of also having a bunch of new ones introduced to EA's football games last year, I think is a pretty big deal. I'm not sure what these mechanics themselves are going to be, but I'm happy to see new ones because gameplay is going to be, the lifeblood of the entire game. The gameplay, is something you're going to experience no matter what mode you play. So it's always important to innovate and do more with the gameplay.
Show of force, inbound 30 seconds.
Stand by!
Play itself. Now, another thing that was hinted at was that the game could be coming to other platforms. This, I'm not going to say is a confirmed thing, but Daryl Holt even hinted at this in his interview recently, and I just feel like you wouldn't hint at this if you weren't actually bringing it to new platforms this year. We do know that at some point they want to be on the Switch. Would they do that this year? It's possible, but with the Switch 2 coming out pretty soon, I feel like they would probably want to wait till the Switch 2, but who knows? They could put it on the Switch, but I think the big one that people are wondering about is PC, because if you put it on PC, that opens up the room for mods and some other crazy stuff to happen. So I think with having all the NIL stuff in place now, you don't run too much of a risk in terms of modding. You have the players' rights anyway, and you have most of them. People really aren't opting out, so it's not like you can really make players, in my opinion, that are opting out of the game, right? Like, because pretty much everybody's opting in and they're getting paid a decent amount to be in it. So I don't really see where modding would be as big of an issue as
Decent. 1,500 in a free copy of the best game that ever dropped in the last decade? Decent. Nigga, I'm not gonna lie. If any of you dick eating ass athletes opt out this year game, we boxed it, broski. I ain't gonna lie.
maybe
Let me
it could have
find
been
out.
last year
Let me
before they knew
find
how
out.
things were going to play out.
Let me find out you declined a free $1,500 and a copy of College Football 26.
So
Let me
they
find
did
out.
hint at new platforms, so that I think that could mean PC is potentially on the table this year. Not confirmed, but something I think is worth mentioning. And on top of that, we're definitely going to be getting things like new equipment and uniforms. Some of you here, that kind of goes without saying if you've been following me in Madden for all of these years. But a lot of you here are probably new and just got back into football gaming because college football came back this past year. So you might be new to this and you don't know how EA operates year to year. Well, every year in Madden, one thing they do to some extent is they always add new equipment and they always add new uniforms. And with college, this is even bigger because we're kind of allowed to have more equipment in this game than is allowed in Madden because the NFL is just a lot stricter with that type of stuff, whereas over here, not really many restrictions. So we could see things like the ski mask or the one leg sleeve or just a number of other things. A lot of new cleats and stuff and gloves are usually added every single year because there's always new ones coming out. So you can expect stuff like that, and especially with uniforms with college, there's always so many new uniforms introduced every year, and there's so many throwbacks that are still out there that they can put in the game that we're going to be getting a lot of that stuff in 26 as well. Now, there's another really big change that's going to be coming to both college and Madden down the line. Probably not this next year, but within the next few years. And if you want to find out what that is, make sure
All right. If I ever have to walk through a neighborhood to go play a fucking dynasty, I mean, a Road to Glory game, I'm done with EA. But yeah, just let me know your thoughts and opinions on this little 12-minute video about college football news. Honestly, uh, hit the links in the description. We out.